have your video on tonight. And I know you've got limited bandwidth as well, right, Mikhail? Is part of your challenge up there?
You betcha.
Yeah, all good. Trish was on and gone. Oh, there she is. She's back. Hey, Trish.
Okay, but Deb, I don't hear him. Bryce is talking and I don't hear him.
Oh, really?
Oh, there he is. Hello,
Oh.
Bryce.
Hey, how you doing, Dwayne?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Just get my IT person to straighten me out.
Ah, there you go. Give everybody a few minutes. I know we got a few coming on, so. We have somebody new on. Is it Nuria? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Hi, hello. Yes, I'm Nuria from the
Nuria.
newly formed TTP.
Ah, excellent.
Hello.
Very, very nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. I just didn't recognize the name, so it was kind of like, oh, somebody new.
Well, I am new.
At least new to our meeting. Maybe not new to beekeeping, but new to this club meeting anyway.
Exactly.
So. We'll give everybody a few minutes. I know Nancy's going to be getting on. I sent her the link again. She wasn't able to get onto her webmail, Mikhail. Again, I don't know what happened, but could be just something on her settings. But I resent it to her just literally 15, 20 minutes ago. So.
Okay, I can check her thing again. I thought I also set it up so anything that goes to her also forwards to her home email too. But I can check it.
Yeah, she said she's not able to get, she wasn't able to get in and didn't get the link. And I said, well, I can, and she asked if I could send it. And I said, oh yeah, no problem. I'll send it to you right now, which I did. And then I just tested it to make sure the link worked, and it did. So after I'd sent it, I went in, opened it up and just double checked the hyperlink, and the hyperlink worked fine. So she should have been okay.
Yeah. And as usual, the link never changes. So
yeah,
any previous
exactly.
link normally should have been.
Yeah. So it should have been just able to carry forward, even if they hadn't, just pick up the old one and they should be fine. So I'm going to give it about 5 minutes here, and then we're going to get rolling.
Bryce?
Yes.
It's Ian.
Yes, Ian.
I'm not able to get mail under the secretary or under education at Board of Directors. Could I just get the address changed to my regular Ian_Farber email?
If Mikhail can do that, I'm not sure.
Well,
I think so.
Just
I believe that Ian, that is automatically being forwarded to you.
I got something today, but that was the first one. I don't know how many other emails have come out. But forwarding work.
Even if it's with the cover.
We get it right here in town.
What are you listening to?
Conference.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's available. We can go over and touch it because they have it on the south side of the Canadian Tire. Ian, do you want me to just send you an email right now? It's
Well,
Gary.
I'm not, yes, Gary, I'm not set up.
I just did it.
Just to test it.
Well, one of the other directors said that when he sent out something to the board of directors, that mine bounced back as being unreachable or something similar to that. So my computer won't, I don't know how to set up my computer so that I can receive the education at board of directors. And I've had some help, but it's not been successful.
Ian, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I set up that account, and anything that goes to that account is supposed to forward straight to your TELUS email address. So anything that's being sent to the education should automatically transfer to your TELUS account,
Okay, then.
to your regular email.
I did.
So I sent you a test email just now. So answer that one if you do get it. If you don't get it, please let me know.
Okay. I don't want to leave the meeting to check that right now.
No,
I did get the forwarded one.
we'll do this afterwards.
Yes.
I'll leave that one with you two then, Ian, Mikhail.
Yes. Thanks, Bryce. Thanks,
Okay.
Mikhail.
And Nuria, you're going to be sharing with us some of the tech transfer. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I have a presentation prepared for you and just updates about the technology transfer program.
Well, I apologize. I didn't have you on the agenda, and that was my mistake because I knew that you were coming as well. And I just inadvertently, this month got away on me. I literally thought the meeting was next week, and all of a sudden I looked and went, oh my God, it's middle of the month already. So I don't know what happened, but I lost a week somehow. So I do apologize, but we're going to put you up on the top of the agenda. So we will adjust the agenda when we go for approval, and
No
we'll
Just
have
give
you.
me- Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you to present. And if you have a presentation, then I'll drop off, stop screen sharing, and then Mikhail will set you up so you can share your presentation.
Absolutely. Just give me a sign and I'll be ready.
You betcha. Okay. And thank you for joining us.
Thanks for the invitation.
Anytime. We always like presenters because it takes the heat off of all of us. Okay, we're 8 minutes past the call, so we're going to move forward. So I'm going to call this evening's meeting to order. I'm looking for an approval of the agenda with the addition of our first item, obviously being our presentation on tech transfer. So we'll load that in immediately after the approval of the minutes, and we'll slot it in. I have a mover, Dwayne. Do I have a seconder? I have a seconder, Gary. And any opposed? That's an easier count. None. That's unanimous. Moving on, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes as circulated. Trish had done them. I thought you did an excellent job, so thank you on that, Trish. Excellent minutes. And if I can get a mover and a seconder, please. I got a mover, Gary, a seconder, Ian. Any opposed? Hearing none, seeing none, that's unanimous as well. And at this point, I'm going to have Nuria do her presentation on tech transfer, and she, of course, is with the BC HPA. So she is part of the provincial, and the tech transfer program is something near and dear to them. They've been working on it for a period of time. And it's very exciting. We're looking forward to where those opportunities may lie within the club and with other clubs throughout the province. So having said that, I'm going to stop screen sharing. I'm going to open it up so that you can load your presentation. And on behalf of the Kamloops branch of the BCHPA, we want to say welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Just give me 1 sec. I'll start this screen sharing. Second. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
If there's any issues, please interrupt me, let me know what's happening, and I'll be happy to stop or go back. And well, just to start, thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here with you and present the projects that we have planned for 2022. I am currently the lead of the newly formed Technology Transfer Program, which is part of the British Columbia Honey Producers Association. We're currently 2 enrolled in this program, Becky and I. Becky is at our admin staff support. And hopefully we'll have another person coming and do an internship and help us with all these projects. So I'll keep you updated. You're the first club to see our new logo. So this is our new logo. We're excited. Everything is coming together, including our image. So I thought about starting with a brief introduction on what are technology transfer programs and what is our role. So tech transfer and knowledge transfer have a long history. It all started with the Industrial Revolution and all these new technologies and innovations that were coming up, and different ways to channel that information and that new technology to be applicable into industries. So after many years, we have come up with diverse models, and the beekeeping industry in Canada has a very particular model, which I like because it's not linear. Technology transfer, we are a link between research that can be led by universities, government, other type of research institutes. And we try to see what they are doing and see how that knowledge or technical innovations can apply and advance the beekeeping industry. And we also do the opposite. We see what the industry needs in terms of services and production. The beekeeping industry is always changing. It's always being challenged by the market, options, the economy, new pests and diseases, environment. So all this pressure creates needs for the beekeeping industry that we can recognize and look for ways to solve them and help the beekeeping industry. So this is a model that has been used and that has proven to be very effective to communicate. One linear way to approach that is if we have a research or an innovation, it needs to have a process until it reaches the commercial application of that innovation, knowledge, or product. So technology transfer will be here, assisting in that transition, for example, through applied research or doing field trials to prove that that product or technology can be applied into the industry and that it follows all the regulations and all that regulatory bodies are okay with it. For example, in the beekeeping industry, a clear example would be there's new chemicals to treat varroa mites, and we know they work at the lab, but we don't know if they work in the field. So technology transfer will be applying those new chemicals and proving that they are actually working and that they are safe for the beekeepers, for honeybees, from the environment, until they finally reach a commercial application that beekeepers can use safely. There are many examples in agriculture, for example, new crops that are resistant to different pests. In biotechnology and medicine, we have many examples of technology transfer. I was just reading that just in 2020 and 2021, there were more than 200 technology transfer agreements to approve the commercial product of the vaccine for COVID-19. There are many other examples, some of them very close to us. For example, UBC worked for a new treatment for Alzheimer's, and there was a technology transfer program pushing for that new medicine or treatment to go out to the market. And there are many others. For example, diabetes treatments, clean water, clean energy resources in many fields. And in beekeeping, it seems to have worked very well. And that is because technology transfer can speed the process to have knowledge or products accessible to beekeepers through applied research. And we also have an active communication between the research bodies, but also the industry. And we like to be in the field. So we like hands-on learning, networking with both parts. Sometimes researchers are very good at communicating between them, but there's a little bit of difficulties in communicating their research or their discoveries to the public. So that's where tech transfer comes handy. In other words, we are bilingual. We speak research and we also speak industry. And that's one of our strengths and roles. So TTPs in Canada go back to the 90s. They started in Ontario, and the main focus was on breeding programs and advancing or increasing domestic stock production. This model proved to be working, and the idea of Ontario was to have a technology transfer connecting with research universities, with the government, and doing applied research, working directly with the industry. So that model seemed to work, and it was adopted after by Quebec in 2006, and Saskatchewan 10 years after. In 2016, the Atlantic provinces joined and created their technology transfer program. And most recently, Alberta and Manitoba started theirs, and we are proud to say that British Columbia is the last province to have a technology transfer program, and we are brand new. Although in the 90s there was one, it worked for some years, but then the funding was cut and it stopped for a number of years. We have many things in common. For example, there's a focus on breeding, queen production, promoting or trying to support the industry on domestic stock production, varroa control, pollination, trying to assist those two industries, beekeeping and pollination services. We have a focus on education or extension. Some provinces call it knowledge transfer. And we have things in common, but we have also our differences because our industries are different. They are focused in different aspects. Some lean more into small-scale beekeeping, others more into pollination services. But we have many things and we share many things in common. Also, the funding is other things that can differ a little bit between provinces, but most of us are funded by the provincial government, and we are constantly seeking from funding from different sources or reaching out and connecting with other research groups or transfer teams to advance our programs. There are some provinces like Quebec and the Atlantic that have a different model. They are funded by, I forget which one, but one of them is funded by the federal government, and both of them have a support from the blueberry industry. So there is a mix of things and models, but what we have in common is the beekeeping industry. We are very focused on beekeeping, and that's our main goal, is to be a link between the beekeeping industry and research. And well, all the programs have to be different because the provinces are different, and British Columbia is not the exception. British Columbia is unique. It's a very big province, it's very rich, and it has a lot of diversity in its climate, its geography, and also the way that beekeeping is done. So the north of the province would be very different in management to the south or the valley. So it is complex and very rich. So based on this, the technology transfer program tried to gather information before starting the project. And we looked into information gathered from and the experience from the provincial apiaries to see what was going on, how the industry looked. We also had the support from the British Columbia Honey Producers Association, that we are a branch or a link where we are part of them. And we have a diverse steering committee that has helped us shape our projects and our goals. And the idea is to have a long-term strategy, a long-term vision of the beekeeping industry for more than 50 years. How do we see the beekeeping industry in British Columbia in long term, and try to work towards those goals, having long, medium, and short-term goals that we'll be able to achieve and show results and communicate to beekeepers. And part of this communication, we sent an online survey to beekeepers, and it worked really well. We have more than 170 participants, and thank you to the Okanagan region, we have beekeepers participating. We got the responses, and it was very useful to know what was going on. There were some things that we confirmed from the information that Paul Van Westendorp has as provincial apiarist, but it also helped us know where all these engaged beekeepers were coming from. So, for example, most of the beekeepers that participated are small-scale beekeepers. They have between 1 to 10 colonies, although we also had response from larger beekeeping operations, some of them having more than 100 honeybee colonies. When we asked them if they wanted to grow the operation, around 50% said yes. And that is very good because there's an interest from the beekeeping industry to grow. So that is very encouraging to the technology transfer program. And it was interesting to see that 34% of them mentioned that they want to grow and have 11 to 50 honeybee colonies, which is, it looks very good. And we appreciate also, and we consider the ones that want to stay small. We see that as a strategy to collaborate and to incorporate those beekeeping operations into our projects. So it's good to know where beekeepers want to go. Most of the beekeepers right now, or the participants from this survey, focus on honey production. 36% for their own consumption, and 34% for to sell that honey. And there were some that responded that they also service for pollination or are Queen Anuk producers. I also found very interesting and very encouraging for the program that 67% of the beekeepers that responded want to expand their operation. So that is very good news for TTP. That means that the beekeepers want to grow, and they want to start. 31% said that they want to focus on honey for sale, but a big percentage of them, around 60%, said that they are interested in Nuke and Queen production. So that's very good news. And there were some interested in pollination services. There is still a need for 3,000 colonies for blueberry pollination right now. So that is good news that beekeepers want to or are interested in this service. And there were a small percentage that also responded other. So we're very curious to see what they have in mind and where they want to go, how they want to go forward. So focusing on one of the main problems of the beekeeping industry, Varroa, we also included, and we wanted to know how many beekeepers monitored for Varroa destructor, and most of them, as you can see in this graph, said that they do monitor for Varroa, and also that they were familiar with an integrated pest management to control Varroa mites. The graph looks very similar. When we asked them what method they preferred to monitor for Varroa mites, the most popular one was icing sugar, followed by alcohol wash, and then sticky boards. A very small percentage in drone brood. So this was very helpful to know what we are working on and how beekeepers are managing this pest or this parasite. And then when we asked them to rate the challenges of the beekeeping industry in the survey, we gave 6 options, and Varroa destructor was number 1. You can see the area that covers is in colors, is related to the degree of importance of the challenge, and Varroa was rated number 1, which was not surprised. Varroa destructor has been pointed out as the main cause of overwinter colony mortality in northern climates. It's one of the main priorities for the Canadian Association of Professional Apiculturists. So Varroa was number 1, followed by overwinter colony mortality. Then management had some relevance. Some examples were, I'm new to beekeeping, I don't know exactly if my management is going well or not. So that was pointed out as the 3rd option. Then European foul brood and environmental stressors such as floods or droughts had a very similar rating. And the last one was chemical stressors such as agricultural chemicals. So based on these results, we wanted to focus on Varroa destructor. It is one of the main priorities for Canada and North America, and in other countries, it's pointed out as one of the main causes of mortality for honeybees. And there are some challenges related to the control of this mite. So we know that Varroa is very damaging for honeybees. It decreases honey yields up to 30%. If the colonies are not properly treated, they can weaken the colonies and they can collapse within 1 or 2 years. It acts as vector for many viruses, including deformed wing virus, and there have been new viral variants linked to Varroa destructor. And again, is the main cause of overwinter colony mortality. And for example, in British Columbia, between 2020 and 2021, there was 32% mortality reported for that winter. And the main challenge of Varroa is how to control it. We know that Varroa is here to stay. It was introduced to the Americas in the 90s. Its original host is the Asian bee Apis cerani, and it jumped to honeybees, to Apis mellifera. And we're dealing with a relatively new pest, and a pest that also brings viruses with it. And viruses, as we have learned in the past years, they mutate, they change, and they are a big challenge. So one way to control Varroa destructor is through an integrated pest management strategy. And IPM relies on monitoring. Monitoring mite levels will help us decide what method of control to incorporate and try to lower those mite levels. We will never get rid of Varroa mites, but we can control the levels of Varroa mites. So the idea of the integrated pest management, it started, I believe, like in the 60s, perhaps, and it was in the production of cotton in the US. And these researchers figured out that using synthetic products to control the pests was not the best idea, because we could spend a lot of money on them. We would never get rid of the pests. The pests will potentially create resistance, and we will have even a bigger problem. And there were also the environmental consequences of using synthetic products to get rid of the pests. So the idea was to understand the dynamics of the pests and just accept that we're not going to get rid of them, but that we can control them and keep them at a level that is not damaging for the, in their case, for the crop and for the pockets of the farmers. In our case, well, we're talking about varroa mites, so we will try to keep them at levels that are not damaging or harmful for the honeybee colony or harmful for the economy of the beekeepers. So one of the things that are a part of this integrated pest management are the incorporation of resistant stock of honeybees, using cultural or mechanical methods to disrupt the life cycle of the mite. For example, dividing the colonies using drone frames and taking them out before the drones emerge. Anything that will disrupt the life cycle of the mite. And we have treatments, although limited options, we do have treatments. We have organic treatments, including essential oils and organic acids, and we also have synthetic acaricides. So, but the next question is, how do we know when to treat for varroa mites, when to control or intervene with this mite population growth? So this is a very generic graph on integrated pest management, but the idea is the following. The varroa destructor will grow, and there are two main indicators: economic threshold that will tell us when we need to intervene to treat or control the mites, and when it is too late, and when the mites are reaching injury levels. That means that it is harmful for the colony and also for the economy of the beekeepers. So if we know these two thresholds, we will have to monitor constantly over time the mite levels of our colonies and check if they are reaching economic thresholds and take measures to control them. If we don't know this economic threshold, then we will not know when to treat and things can get out of hand. But this economic threshold in Canada or North America was set a number of years ago, and things have changed a little bit since varroa destructor was introduced into the Americas. There have been different conversations in Canada, in North America, and in Europe, and there are different concerns. For example, how climate patterns is changing, weather patterns have affected varroa population growth. Also, there are new viral variants that have appeared that we are starting to know and monitor, and we don't know how they influence these varroa economic thresholds. And the third thing to consider is that we have been using the same synthetic acaricides for many years, and there have been reports of acaricide resistance. So we don't know if these economic thresholds are still valid. So one of the main objectives for TTP this year is to calculate varroa economic thresholds in different regions of British Columbia, and to confirm if we are doing the right thing or not, if we need to reconsider these values, and also it will give us a lot of information of what's going on in the province and what tools we can use to assist beekeepers. It will also lay the foundations for future research, for example, on new chemical treatments or on new methods to control varroa destructor. If we don't know the economic threshold, it will be difficult to be sure if those new treatments or these new methods are useful or not useful to control the mites. So what do we need to calculate baroeconomic thresholds? Well, we need a high number of samples. I'm so sorry, I got distracted by the interaction. We'll need a high number of samples for mite levels and from different regions of each province. As I mentioned before, British Columbia is huge. It has different geographical and climates. So we have to consider all these different regions. And we will also need to record health parameters, for example, colony strength, overwinter colony survival, honey yield, to link those two and see how varroa mites could be affecting these health parameters. And to record all this information, that it has to be high numbers to have an understanding of what's happening in the province, we need the participation of beekeepers in British Columbia. With this, we would be able to collect the data and calculate baroeconomic thresholds in the province. One of the approaches that we're using is a citizen science study. This is not the first time that we have done this. There have been other projects, including COLOS. I don't know if you have heard about COLOS, but it's this organization in Europe of scientists, researchers, and other people interested in beekeeping science. And they have these concerns about baroeconomic thresholds, and they started this citizen science study. And we are very lucky because in Canada, I proposed this study to different researchers in Canada to assist us and to collaborate with us to make sure that we're doing things right and that we can come up with these baroeconomic thresholds with confidence. So we got the collaboration from the representative of COLOS in Canada, which is Dr. Olaf Ruppel from the University of Alberta. We also have the collaboration of Dr. Leonard Foster from the University of British Columbia, Dr. Ernesto Guzman from the University of Guelph Honeybee Research Center. He has a lot of experience dealing with baroeconomic thresholds, mite levels, breeding for varroa resistance. And also Dr. Rob Curry from the University of Manitoba agreed to collaborate, and he also has a lot of experience with calculating baroeconomic thresholds in his province. So we're very happy to have all these collaborations and strength to conduct this study. But one of the main aspects that we need to succeed is the participation of beekeepers. We will also be conducting on-site monitoring, and we will be collecting samples of honeybees and varroa mites to survey their health and to diagnose viruses and see what's going on. So that will be run in parallel with this citizen science study. So if you would like to participate, participating is very easy. You will be asked to fill 3 online surveys. One would be delivered in March, the other one in September 2022, and the last one in March of 2023. The only thing that you need to do is let me know that you're willing to participate, or just go to our website that will be available very soon. Click on the link to the survey and fill it out. We will also be giving online workshops on how to fill out the survey, and there will be a link to a PowerPoint presentation that you can just go on and click and hear us talk about how to fill out the survey. It is very easy. We won't ask you to do anything that you don't normally do. If you are using icing sugar to monitor mite levels, that would be great. You just need to fill out exactly what you're doing. Although you would need to know some things. For example, we will be asking to report colony strength. So we all have to measure it the same way. So if you could just look at them at the PowerPoint presentation or register and take the webinar, that would be great. It is very easy. I don't know how we're doing with time, but I can show you very quickly how the survey works, if that works for you.
Sure. Take a few minutes. I don't want to run. We do have some other items, but I do want to go through this because this is a big piece of what's going on provincially and across the country. So
sounds good. So I'll be very brief. And also this, we will be sharing all this information during the British Columbia Honey Producers Association semi-annual meeting that is coming in March. So we'll have these great speakers and workshops, and we will be giving detailed information on how to do it. But I don't know if you can see my screen now. Yep. So if you can see, it's just a link. You press the link and then you'll have the survey, and it's very easy. We will ask you for an identifying number so I can verify that that the information is accurate. And if I have some question, I could go back to the beekeepers and ask them. All the information will be completely private. I will not share anything. It will be only used for data collection and data analysis. We will ask you, for example, which region you keep your bees. You just have to click on the best option for you. How many colonies do you keep? Which is the method of monitoring that you use? Finally, input the colony number and the number of mites that you recorded. When you recorded those mites, for example, if you treated before you did the monitoring, if you used any other treatment such as acaricides, colony strength. We will use a very simple method to assess colony strength, which is based on the number of frames that are covered by the cluster of bees when you open up the hive. So you will have to just record the number of frames that you see covered with the cluster, and so on. And things that look silly, but they are important to us. For example, when you monitor and record the strength to see if the time of the day had any influence. And you can see all this information at the end. If you have any suggestions or any comments, you can input all the things here and send the survey. There will be also other ways to share the information. For example, in the website, you will have an Excel sheet that you can download, and then just fill the Excel sheet and send it to me, or you can print the sheet of records, go to the yard, do it in paper, and then just send me photos of what you came up with. So we're trying to do this in a very easy way. So there will be more beekeepers participating in this citizen science study. So I will keep you updated. I will share all the information with you once we have our website. And please also feel free just to contact me if you have any comments or questions. And very briefly, I'm just going to mention that this is not the only project. We have the Bioeconomic Threshold projects through on-site monitoring and the citizen science, which is very important to us. But we will also be working on other projects, for example, on studying the transmissibility of EFB. EFB and pollination services, there's this link possibly to this disease. And it has been studied before, and we are going to collaborate and help Dr. Martha Warna from AgriFood Canada and with Dr. Sarah Wood and Elemer Simcoe from the University of Saskatchewan to understand how this disease is transmitted, and later on figure out ways to disrupt this transmission or to help beekeepers that are focused on pollination services. We will also be delivering workshops. We will also need for this the collaboration of beekeepers associations. We are planning on doing on-site workshops on basic beekeeping management, integrated pest management, including methods to control varroa. Probably this year or next year, perhaps we'll start with some pilot workshops, but we will be focusing too on queen rearing techniques, and all the details will be coming soon. But if you have any suggestions, please let me know. My idea is to let you know when I'll be in your region and we can arrange a workshop and coordinate that through the beekeepers associations. So that's in a nutshell what's going to be happening in 2022. But I do want to let you know that we have long-term goals, that TTP will be focusing on different strategies of integrated pest management practices, sustainable beekeeping. We will be working with the BCB Breeders Association, and also supporting local food production, including all the aspects, or focusing in the aspects of beekeeping and pollination, and taking into consideration other stressors such as different agricultural stressors or environmental stressors that are affecting the beekeeping industry. So this is a very brief summary of what we come up with. This program started in November, so we have come, we're still in the planning stages of 2022, but spring is coming soon, so we will keep you updated, and there will be some conversation during the semi-annual meeting, so hopefully we'll see you there as well. If you have any questions, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to contact us. This is my email, and we're here for you, for the beekeepers. And thank you for your time, and thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here with you this evening.
Well, thank
you. And if you have any questions,
yeah, I'm just gonna open it up and just see if there's some questions. I want to thank you on behalf of the executive and the board for your presentation. We've heard lots about the tech transfer program, but it's this nebulous unknown. So thank you for bringing some clarity. Certainly something that I think all of our members should hear about. So we'll certainly coordinate with you when you're coming through the region to make sure that it fits within the timelines for one of our meetings. It looks as though we may be moving back into face-to-face meetings here sooner than we thought. Which is a great thing, and we'll coordinate that with you. But right now I'm going to give the board the opportunity to ask any questions if they have any currently.
Absolutely.
Not seeing any hands up anywhere. Everybody is digesting, I think. There's a lot of information. So I see in the chat.
If you don't come
just one question.
Okay. Mikhail, go ahead.
Yeah, you were talking about the economic, and you know, it will be different throughout the different areas. What's the average threshold of the economic threshold for the varroa when you are looking to decide?
So let me see if I understand the question. What is the threshold that we're currently using as an economic threshold for varroa mites? So that would be 3%.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's like the magic number.
Yes,
some provinces have more details. For example, in Ontario, they've broken that down and they have details. If you're using sticky papers or icing sugar or alcohol wash, if you're monitoring in the spring or in the fall, then they will give you between 1% and 3%. In other parts of North America, that threshold, it's a little bit higher, up to 5%, but for British Columbia, 3%.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know the difference regions. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, and British Columbia is huge and diverse, just the climates that we have. So we need to address that and see if what we're using, it has to be revised or not. And it will also give us a chance to see what's going on, what viruses are in different regions, and see, and also get to meet the beekeepers. That will be great as well.
Excellent. Any other questions? Thanks, Mikhail. Looking around the Zoom bingo board, not seeing any hands up. So I think we're going to be able to let you go back to your evening. So, but again, on behalf of the Kamloops branch, we just want to say a huge thank you. Thank you for all the work that's gone into it. It obviously is not light lifting, and there's a lot of work to be done there. We certainly look forward to seeing any way that we as a branch in the interior can facilitate and assist in any way around the tech transfer program and the research you're doing. So keep us informed, and we will certainly lean in and do what we can from our perspective.
Absolutely. Thank you very much again for the invitation. I'm looking forward to collaborating and working with you. And there's my email. You can also use the info. So thank you very much. And
That's great.
I'll see you soon.
Excellent. Thank you again for your time, and we'll be in touch. All right.
Excellent.
Take care. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was great. There was a lot of information there. I originally thought they were going to be presenting on just ways that the club could work with the provincial body to assist, and I guess that's what it is to a certain degree. But there was also going to be some funding opportunities, was the way it was presented, and so I think we're going to have to dig a little deeper on that side. This, to me, was more of a presentation that probably should be directed to the membership at large. But in any event, we'll get clarity on that and move that forward. So we have a couple of new people that have joined. Blair, I don't recognize that, and there's a phone number that has appeared. Maybe just introduce yourselves if you would, please.
Mine.
Oh, and is that Joanne?
No, Nancy.
Oh, it's Nancy.
Nancy.
Oh, I see. So you're on
Yeah,
two spots.
yeah.
Okay, got it. That's
Yeah,
why you
yeah.
came on, because you couldn't hear on the other one. I noticed that in the chat.
Right.
So, okay, that makes sense. And Blair? Hello, Blair? I'm not sure who that is. So,
It shows on my screen that
He's
Blair is
not-
muted.
In the chat, it's
Oh.
got
Yeah, he
Blair's
also-
Joanne.
oh,
sorry?
In the chat,
Blair
it
is
popped up, it
Joanne.
says Blair's Joanne.
Oh, it's Joanne. Okay, no problem. I just didn't know who it was because it's up on the screen and I'm going, I don't recognize the name. So I just wanted to make sure we knew who was joining us. Not that it matters, but okay. So we'll move on to our agenda items just to facilitate getting through so this doesn't become a very long, lengthy meeting. So my apologies for not having that on the agenda. I knew about it after last month. Joanna, I think it was you that actually coordinated it. So I apologize for not having that on there. So first action item, we were talking about policy around selling approval on the website. Mikhail, did we come up with anything around that yet, or where do we sit?
not as far as I recall.
Okay, because I know
we do have a so-called classifieds on the website where people can submit and then someone will approve it.
okay.
That functionality is there, just have been underutilized because it's not a very easy thing.
So it's a little bit clunky the way it's set up right now then?
Yeah, I think so too. It's like the seller has to create like a post. That's more or less, and then it will be subject to being approved or not. And previously, the approval email went to the hosting company, so I never saw it. But now I believe I've CC'd myself too on that. But then yet again, I won't be able to be there all the time to approve stuff.
Okay. So we've got to, we're going to have to look at making sure that whatever does go on there, right now it's working, but it probably needs to be refined a little bit then is really where we sit.
Yes.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was any other policy we need to wrap around it because it came up at the last board meeting and we were going to get some clarity on it. And I just threw it on here because I thought we should talk about it. So it sounds like that's going to be work in hand and we'll need to work at it a bit.
I think though, what we had talked last time about was posting on Facebook where someone posts something that has some good information, but then it was kind of more of a selling thing too.
Right.
And we discussed that last time, and we wanted more, see things more educational rather than promoting something specific.
Right. So we just need to monitor that
product.
we need to monitor the Facebook page a little more. And without a communications chair, that's a bit challenging too, right? Because you can't.
Yeah, well, yeah, things are normally not being approved though. There'll be some, we had to approve them.
Right.
So they are still being caught. There's nothing really to the public.
Okay. The connection is a little bit gurgly on there, Mikhail, so that's why I'm just struggling a little bit to understand. So
Sorry.
that's a little bit better there, but yeah. So, okay. So I think what we need to do is as we get our communications person involved, we're going to need to work on that and then determine how we do that if there's an approval before it gets posted to Facebook, which means we obviously have to be managing it on a pretty regular basis. So,
yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Moving into new business, governance and communication. Okay, we need to get some chairs. We got to get some people. We need to try and find somebody who might be interested in helping out with communication, that around Facebook and so on. Governance, I'm less worried about. This is really the operation of the board, and we've got our new manual, operations manual in place, and we certainly have good guidelines around that, which is the fundamentals of governance. So overall, we're in pretty good shape. The governance can be managed certainly by the chair. So I'm less concerned about that particular committee, although we should be moving and creating, other ways to operate the board for efficiencies. But we can certainly pick away. But communications is crucial in my mind. So if there's any one of you that knows somebody, another friend, a family member, somebody that you're associated with that you are rubbing shoulders with in the beekeeping world day to day, maybe give them a little bit of nudge. See if there's somebody that might be interested in participating in the communications. As I keep saying, many hands makes for light work, and there's only a handful of us, and not everybody is able to attend each of the meetings each time. So, it's a struggle. So, but we're getting closer to face-to-face meetings, and I think that's probably going to improve things dramatically. So, because we'll be able to sit with somebody at a meeting and say, by the way, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, we need you. So I think that'll be a lot more helpful than trying to do it by email or catching somebody in a quick coffee conversation, as we're doing day-to-day stuff. So any comments on that?
I think what you're saying in regards to the.
Sorry,
Go ahead. Trish.
I was just going to say, if we do know someone, put them in contact with you.
I think so, Trish.
Okay.
If there's somebody else that or that's, the big thing is we're not necessarily looking for people that have, 40 years of beekeeping. That's not what this is. I've found that I've learned more being involved on the board than I ever learned by just being somebody sitting and warming a stool, sitting in a meeting. So, if you're just there, when you get involved, you start to get involved in a lot more of what's going on in the provincial, everything else. So there's a real good value in it for the individual as well. And I think that's the thing. We got to sell that a little bit. So yes, Trish, if you know some people, send them my way, and I'm more than happy to have a conversation and see if it's a good fit for them and for us. Okay, Mikhail?
What you said in regards to communication chairs, I think the best thing, if we don't getting volunteers right off the bat here, is when we're having face-to-face events. We just have to take the opportunity at those times to really have a table with, join us as a communication chair or something like that, volunteer.
Yeah.
So like a volunteer sign up, table.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, and we can integrate that in as we move forward into, the next phase of meetings here. I don't think we're going to be too far off having, that ability to do meetings face to face as early as maybe next month. But we'll get into that discussion here on item 3. So, but that's a good idea, setting up a table for volunteers at the session. So, any other comments around that one before we move on to item 2 under new business? Not seeing or hearing anything, so I'm going to move on. Just a little update from our club secretary. And the only reason I put that on there, Trish, was I just wanted to know how you're feeling. Do you feel lost? Do you feel, are you getting a little assistance from Rob? Or do you need some additional assistance? About the last thing we want to do is freak you out, burn you out, and lose you. So we're wanting to make sure things are comfortable. So let us know what's the state of Trish at this point.
I am good. If at some point Mikkel and I can connect, I'm happy to help with, some of the posting on the website to get the minutes up instead of just firing them to you. And, even connecting as an admin on Facebook. I don't have an exceptional amount of time, but I am connected to a computer pretty much 24 hours a day. So if it's a simple matter of, review and approve or that instantaneous response, then I'm happy to do so.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Trish. I really do. So, and I have a question for you too, through you to Rick, back to Dwayne. Dwayne is doing a honey house out of a sea can. I left Rick a couple of notes, but I have not heard back from him. And he's just wanting to know the best way to insulate a sea can. So if you could find that information out and forward that on to my good friend Dwayne, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. My initial thought would be to use one of the solid kind of
rigid board.
Yeah. But I will confirm that and I will let you know.
Awesome. If you get the information back to Dwayne, I know Dwayne will be happy. I'm sure he thought it fell off my radar, but I just didn't get a response back from Rick. So I don't know if Rick has been away or.
We bought another store in Clearwater, so we've been
that would explain
that. So
that fair enough, and that's totally understandable. So I appreciate that. I popped him a couple of notes on his cell phone, but I know if he gets buried, he's not going to get at it. So
yeah, no, Dwayne, I will absolutely get somebody to get back to you this week.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
Margaret Jones made a honey house out of a sea can.
Oh, okay.
So she might be somebody to talk to. Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I thought a sea can was a great call. That's what I planned on using when I was going to get about a 20-footer. Thought be perfect. Even a 10-footer would work. But yeah, that's great. So keep us posted on that, Dwayne. That's a project I'd like to see as you go along. Take some photos during development. That'll be fantastic.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. And thanks, Trish, and Nancy for your feedback on that. We'll move into item 3, and that's the discussion on face-to-face. What's the feeling of everybody after today's announcements? It sounds as though we can mingle, mask requirement, vaccine passports will be required, but by the time we get into March here, some of those even may be starting to lift. So is the feeling of the board to lean back into face-to-face meetings?
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's imperative that we start meeting people, filling some of the vacancies and generating some, I don't know, club spirit, I guess. We got to get something going.
Yep.
Pretty dead right now.
Yeah, and it's difficult to do right now. It really is, and I understand that. So I think we start moving back into face-to-face, and I think let's try for March. You know, I mean, we're going to be almost 6 weeks, you know, 4 weeks, 5 weeks anyway, five full weeks, I think, by the time we get there. So, you know, we're going to be in pretty good shape, I think, by then. And certainly some of these hiccups after the announcement this afternoon will have been smoothed out, that's for sure. So I think we'll go back to our usual place at the Scratch Kitchen at TRU. Dwayne, are you willing to work with me on pulling together the hosting on that?
Sure.
Okay. Dwayne and I will work on that together cooperatively, and we'll get the face-to-face meetings running. And the first one will be our March one, and we'll get that information out on social media as well as a broadcast mailer to all members and let them know that we'll be re-engaging in face-to-face. And I think at this point, we'll drop the hybrid portion. It didn't work really well in that room. So very difficult to manage. I think we'll just literally suspend Zoom and drop from hybrid to full-on face-to-face. Agreement?
Yes.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Got nods, yeps, and thumbs up. So I'm going with that. That's great. Thanks very much. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and again, because I've only had one since I've been the president and only been able to attend one because of COVID, is the possibility of maybe doing a spring field day. What do you think? Do you think that's something, is that something that needs to be done in early March? Can we plan it at the meeting and see if we get uptake at from members at the meeting, or what's the take on that? I need some guidance.
Do we usually have it not in, I thought we had it in early April.
I believe so, but again, I'm not, that's why I'm asking. I don't know, right?
So I think it's a good idea again to build some structure to the group, is to have it. And I'm not too sure who will host it, but we may have to come to that as far as,
yeah,
and that's the biggest thing. Once we get a host, it shouldn't be any drama.
and we might be able to check and see if Joe could make arrangements to see if there's still enough hives at the Desert Hills and be able to do it in that same location, because I mean, there was an outhouse, there was lots of parking. It was a great facility to be able to utilize for all of those that were able to attend. But it was more of whether or not there was going to be enough active hives to be able to put on a spring field day there. So I think we'll see if that space might be available. But do you think we have enough time to plan it after the March meeting?
Well, usually in the past, it's been tied in with the arrival of the Queens, and the field day has shown people how to introduce a Queen. And in April, we've got a much better chance of better weather. March for field day could be a problem.
Yeah, no, I wasn't, just Ian, for clarity, sorry, maybe I wasn't clear on that. I wasn't thinking of doing one in March. I was thinking if we're going to do it in early April or whatever, do we have enough lead time to present doing a field day at the meeting in March and still be able to pull it off with good attendance? That was my question.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, because
all right.
People will come to a field day, and
yeah.
So if we gave the members notice that there will be an April field day, it's not going to take long for that information to circulate.
Excellent. That's sounds great, because I was hoping that would be the response, because then we'll put it on the agenda, and also we'll make sure that when the notice goes out on the meeting, that we can nudge people that we're looking at putting on an April field day, site to be determined until such times as we get a conversation going with Joe, etc. Will you be talking with Joe at all, Ian, around Queens and that kind of stuff?
No.
No? Is anybody going to be speaking with Joe that's on tonight?
I don't mind giving him a phone call if you'd like, and we can, I can see what he says.
Sure, that would be great. And then at least we get a bit of an idea, because if we can't utilize that B yard, then we're going to need to look for an alternate site somewhere.
Sure. Okay. I'll let you know as soon as I give him a call. It'll be the end of next week or the following week. I should be able to connect with him, if not before.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you for taking that on. I appreciate that. Excellent. I guess the other item is a guest speaker for our March meeting. Any thoughts, Ian, around that?
Yes, I've been thinking about that. For Dana Stallman's presentations, he was presenting at 9:30 in the evening from South Carolina. I asked another person from his area, and she wasn't able to commit to a presentation because it was so late. So now I'm thinking more of staying on the West Coast or looking for in British Columbia for a speaker, somebody that wait a minute now. If we're going to a meeting without Zoom, do we need a speaker in person?
Well, we can do an in-person speaker, but we can also bring them in on Zoom and just put them up on the big screen. I mean, the nice thing is that we'll be able to, when it's only one person that we're communicating with, that's an easy, it's more of a video link at that point. So that's an easy transaction to be able to do, Ian. And so we'll be able to bring them up and stream them on the Wi-Fi system that's there. It's strong enough to do that. Where we ran into the problem was when we had multiple ones, people live, and then we're trying to present and speak, and they couldn't hear us and we couldn't hear them. And, you know, because it was hybrid is something that you really have to integrate really well. Whereas if it's only one dimensional, where it's us all live in one room and them presenting to us, that's still very doable.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Gary sent out email in the last couple of days. Can't remember exactly the titles. Scientific. Help me out, Gary.
Scientific beekeeping?
Yeah, yeah. That looked interesting.
Yeah, he was open to giving presentations to small groups. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just asking him if he was going to be doing grafting down at the University of Montana, and he said no, not this year, but he was open to small groups.
Okay. I did reach out to somebody from the United States, but I haven't heard back from her, so I've crossed that one off. I'll keep hunting and let you know.
Okay, sounds good. You want to work with Gary on that possibility of that one might come to fruition?
Yeah, Gary's been very helpful.
Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, I know Gary has gathered us up a couple of them, so that's great.
Ian, I sent you an email too here in regards of north of 60. He's up in the Yukon, the citizen science.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that was an interesting one too. Mikhail shared that one with me. Northern beekeeping, right in the land of the midnight sun. They may not have a long season, but they got a long days, so the production can work. And they've been doing a lot of different modeling up there that sounded pretty fascinating about the research. So
yes, I'll pursue that idea as well.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm going to leave that in your capable hands, and it sounds as though Mikhail, Gary, and you have got that well in hand. So I'm going to leave that with you, and look forward to hearing what we have, and then we'll figure out the technology again, probably between Gary and Mikhail, on how we can bring the Zoom in.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Moving into committee reports, Treasurer's report. Dave, where are we at? Anything? Probably not a damn thing, except we wrote one check. Probably that's about it.
Maybe two. But
Oh,
the thing
geez.
is,
Big month.
I know. It's tough. You've got to buy those stamps, you know. The only thing was that the Interior Savings has begun charging us for having an account with them.
Oh, really?
$2 a month for just the account and $3 a month for getting a printed statement mailed to me. So I took umbrage to that, but I've since settled down. And the thing is, we need to have a record of it. So again, it's just the cost of doing business, I guess.
Yeah, $5 a month. I mean, it's $60 a year, I guess, when it comes right down to it. If it's, and we do
Well,
need to keep proper record, right?
Right. But the thing is, the baseline is I hate to give them any more money. They're
Oh.
using our money to make money.
Yeah.
And we don't get any interest or any shares anymore. So.
What about
Yeah.
transactions? Are we getting charged for transactions then when we write a check?
No, we're
Okay.
not. But the thing is, it's just, that's what I thought we were getting charged for, but it's just having a printed statement. And you can go electronic, but then again, somebody then would have to print it out. I don't have the authorization to sign off on the electronic. It's just the two main members or the two main signers would have to agree to that. So for the time being, I think we're okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have about $13,000 in the bank. And anybody that has some spare change, getting that big tax return, they can make a donation too. Okay. I always pay. I never get a return. Okay, that's it for the treasurer's report.
Okay,
Have a
thanks very
nice
much.
day,
Yeah, it's great.
eh? Anybody want to buy a hive? I've got 2 hives for sale.
Are you getting out of the business or what, Dave?
Oh, I have 2 spare ones that I've overwintered.
Oh, okay.
And they're
Nice.
complete hives, so not nukes.
There you go. I'm sure there's somebody that'll be interested.
Well, I'm just passing it out there. Okay, that's it for me.
Excellent. What are you looking for? What do you want to get out of them, Dave?
Money,
Yeah.
lots of it. I'm retired, but I still need money.
Well, I
Business
can
card.
give you
know.
I can
I've
give you the
heard-
$5 back that you lost on this month's statement if you want, but you're probably looking for a little more.
Well, I've heard up to $500 for a hive, but I find that quite excessive myself. So
Yeah,
it might be in the $350 range.
sounds good.
Okay?
Okay. Thanks very much, Dave. Appreciate it. Governance, we don't have anybody. Technology, Mikhail, anything you want to bounce off the board or support you need or whatever? We all need support, but hopefully we can gather some of that in the face-to-face.
No, just the basic stuff, piddling around with the websites, updating stuff and all that. Nothing more than that. Yeah, no, I think that's fine. I was supposed to have some stats here, but I don't have the stats. But it looks like we had a bit of traffic on the website, which is nice to see. So I was hoping for next meeting, at least email you some of the stats so you have that. That's a presentation.
Okay. I'm going to, I'm hoping to get us an article in the newspaper that'll hopefully maybe help spike things a little bit. I did a presentation to Interact with Rotary, which is the youth division under 19. So it's, I did a presentation to their club, and I'm doing another Rotary presentation to the downtown club next week or 2 weeks out. And so I'll be able to nudge it a little bit with some of those people as well, Mikhail, as far as getting some information out there and hopefully rattling some information at least to maybe get some support. So I will continue to do that. So we'll keep forging along on that one. Board development, Gary, any updates there?
No, not really. Happy to hear that we're going to have face-to-face meetings because I don't even know how many members we have. Whether or not for some of these vacancies, we're looking inside at a short list, or do we have to go find someone outside the organization?
I want to say we have about 62, but Dave, did you get a final number in the last little bit? Oh, you're muted, sorry.
Because it might be worthwhile looking at that list and kind
Yeah.
of circle a few names to see
Yeah,
who
and
you think
approach
would be
Dave?
candidates.
Yeah, Dave, you're muted, Dave. We can't hear you.
Let them go through the motions.
But he's going to have to do it all again, though.
I know.
And while he's on there, sorry about my pencil. I thought I was doodling on a screenshot. I didn't realize my iPad would take over her presentation.
That was
Okay.
funny, actually.
I'm not
Well,
sure how
probably-
many people we have, because Irene hasn't got back to me yet, but I can ask her again. She's a first in, first out kind of thing.
Okay.
And, or whatever, she responds to the latest query. So I'll try and query her again on an updated list. I'm pretty sure that we're in the 60 odd members. We've got 2 or 3 new ones that have sent me their invoice. So I've added them, but other than that, not much activity that way. But I'll get on to Irene.
Yeah, that would be our shopping list of who's who.
Yeah.
It definitely is, but the thing is, it's getting this communication with Irene going. And
Yeah. Be careful. Anyways, events, Nancy. I know we got CD Saturdays, some other things coming up. Is there anything relevant that we need to jump on before this meeting, or can we have you present some of the opportunities at that point?
Well, the CD Saturday, it comes up March 12th, so it's coming
Just
up
before.
really soon. So I have a letter that I need to go out to the general club members, so for volunteers. So do I send that to Trish to send out?
I think if you get it to Trish and Mikhail, between the two of them, they'll get it distributed. How's that? Is that-
Okay, all right.
Mikhail,
I just
Trish,
have a
you're
little,
okay
I
with
have
that?
to just find a couple forms. And we are gonna
Yes,
do
I
the
will set
honey
it up
sales.
with Vanessa.
Okay. Mikhail just confirmed that's
sorry.
fine. Yeah, no, I just, it's
Okay.
good. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay,
Go ahead.
and we are gonna get a table for honey sales too, because there's nobody at the market that is selling honey right now. So
Oh, okay.
normally what we do, we charge 10% of whatever somebody sells to go towards the table, but I don't know that that's really necessary. I don't know how much the tables are gonna be, but usually it's around $60 or $70, something like that for the 2 tables. So is it okay if we just don't charge that 10%?
I think with the money that we have in the bank, that's a great way to get an opportunity for members to get out. I mean, I don't think we're going to be flooded with 50 beekeepers all of a sudden showing up to sell their
No,
wares,
usually
so-
there's 2 or 3 new beekeepers that like to sell their honey, and I usually take honey in case there's not enough too. So,
Yeah,
but it gives new beekeepers a way to see how to kind of do markets and how to sell honey. And
I think it's a great idea. I think, it's a great feeder. I mean, if all of a sudden we get a massive response, then maybe it has to be a lottery to get involved or whatever, but it's a great way again for the Counts branch to have a good amount of publicity out of it. And hopefully we can promote that through, some other stuff that we're doing with articles in the newspaper and so on. So,
okay, normally when we do the CD Saturdays, I've always just paid for the tables first and then just give them the receipt, and then the club gives me a check. Or do you guys want to give a check first, or how do you want to do that?
I'll flip that over to Dave's comment. I don't know what's easier, Dave. Probably easier to expense it back, I would think, Dave.
Yes, I think expensing it back is fine, because there might be some extra stuff going on as well.
Yeah. And so,
I mean,
do
so
you
have
need
me
to,
pay for it?
yeah, and then just submit it right away.
Okay.
Because if there's any additional,
Okay.
Nancy, just get it, grab a receipt for it, and then we'll reimburse you.
Yeah, I think this time I don't think we'll put a whole lot of money into buying things. We'll just use kind of what we have there, because it's at the greenhouse at Purity Feeds this year. So it's
Right.
not as big of a setup anyway. And a little bit, I think we can just make do with what we have. However, I I always take the observation hive there, but I've had a whole lot of losses this year because my hives are out in Monty Lake, and after
Oh,
the
yeah,
fires,
the
I've lost
wildfires.
most of my hives. So if anybody could possibly put together an observation hive, I have a hive, observation hive they could use to bring one in on that day. That would be fantastic.
Okay.
Just a thought, if you.
Is there anybody that might be able to assist with that that's online tonight?
What's the date again?
12th
It's
of March.
March 12th.
Well, I've never done one, but I guess I could.
Who is it that's talking?
That's Dave. It's
Oh,
Dave, our
that's Dave,
treasurer.
okay.
The same guy
Yeah,
that's going to give
okay.
you your money back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I got really scared. I thought you were gonna say the nude photo.
Yeah. I'm avoiding that conversation, Dwayne.
Okay.
You could borrow my observation hive if you, do you have one yourself?
No, I haven't. I've looked into
Okay,
making
so you
one.
could-
No.
You could certainly borrow mine, and then I can just kind of tell you how I do it.
Yeah, that's the thing I need to know is how to do it. Yeah, that'd be
Okay,
great.
and-
So if you can send me an email or whatever, we can set up a meet.
Okay,
Oh.
that sounds great.
I think the
Fabulous.
club,
Okay.
the club also has an observation hive. It should be in the Purity trailer, and all of the
Actually,
posters.
I have that one here, but it's a 3-frame one.
Oh, the club one is the 3-frame one?
Yeah, the big old one is, yeah.
Okay.
It is
Um,
really, really heavy, super heavy.
Okay, I
Oh,
thought
okay.
we had a newer one.
Oh, maybe they do.
It would
Maybe.
be in
I'll
the
check in the
trailer.
trailer because
Yeah.
I need to go out there anyway and get all the other stuff out. So I'll check and see if there is one out there.
Yeah,
But
as far as I know,
if not-
all the posters are there, so.
Okay,
Oh, you're
I'll-
right. They have the club does have one just like mine.
Yeah, I
It's
think
the
so.
2-frame one. It has that little plaque on the front, right?
Yeah,
I think it's got the logo or something on it. I think I remember seeing it in the
Yeah.
trailer there. And that's at Purity.
I
And
think
the
you're
fact that it's going to be in the greenhouse, that's perfect that we're going to be doing the presentation on their property too.
I wouldn't mind helping with that too, Nancy and Dave, if you need any help.
Fantastic. Who's that? I
That's-
can't see
That's
who's
Dwayne.
speaking.
Yeah, I
Dwayne.
know.
Oh,
It's
Dwayne. Okay.
So Dwayne
Okay.
and Dave will work with you. So if you loop an email to them, Nancy, and work with the two of them
Okay.
and then coordinate doing that, that'd be fantastic.
Just a
Okay.
question about
Great.
City Saturday. 3 years ago, Oliver bought a whole bunch of seeds that he was going to package and give away or
Yeah.
sell for $1 or whatever. Those should be in the trailer as well.
Oh, we took them out and got rid of them because they were a mouse attractant.
Okay.
So we got rid of them. There wasn't a lot. There was literally, they were in a plastic bag. So when Rob, I think Joanne was there with us as well. And we just thought anything that's going to attract mice, let's get it out of here. So we
Yeah,
took it
no,
out.
no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're gone. They were pumpkin seeds and something else. I don't know what else they were in there, but they were in a couple of zip baggies, and we just got them the heck out of there.
Okay.
A lot of those
Okay.
might not even be good anymore anyway. A lot of seeds
Yeah.
don't last.
So
Okay,
Okay.
well, that's great. And let's see, okay, and then the field days, that's not under me, right? That's under education? Is that how that
Well,
goes?
yeah, I think it's really it's coordinated. I think really, Nancy. So I think the biggest thing is when we get to it, it'll probably be 3 or 4 of us working on that. I think last time Dwayne helped, and I think Dave did, and Gary and Ian certainly did. I got involved a little bit as well, and so I think it's an all-round thing. I think we'll all lean in when it comes to a field day. We want to make it the best
Okay, good.
as we can. So yeah, you won't be out in the cold on your own on that one. We'll all
Okay.
lean in.
Okay, and then the only other thing would be Day of the Honeybee, and that I think is in May, right? So
Yeah, I think
that's
it's the-
we'll do this first one first, the CD Saturday, and then Joanne, you've done a lot of the Day of the Honeybees, so we can pick your brain on that one.
Yeah, I think it's the end of May, and yeah, sure. By then we should be able to do something with the farmers market.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
that's great. Okay, Joanne, you're up next. Anything around fundraising, or I know with COVID, we haven't been able to do much, but face-to-face meeting coming up, maybe we can get going on a 50-50 and some other things again.
Sure. Yeah, no, there's been very little without the face-to-face. So looking forward to doing something perhaps at either the March meeting or the April field day. Maybe we can hopefully get something set up there. I think I was under the understanding that Maria would have some information on where we could maybe branch off and do something with her on that, but maybe that's going to come later on once we hear what some of her programs are. And you know, Diane, when I was speaking to the bee inspector, Diane said to connect with her because we might be able to do a queen rearing course, or we might be able to do different things. So maybe down the road, that's something that we can also look at for doing something there.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that one with you. That was part of that tech transfer too, was it not?
Yeah, well, I thought it was, but
that's what I thought too, and that's why I was a little bit surprised when it was all just around the information about data collection, because I thought there was opportunity for clubs to find ways to do fundraising to assist with that tech transfer when you and I talked. So I think we might have to ask that question again.
Yeah, great on education, but yeah, we might have to just kind of nudge that in somehow ourselves. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you very much on that one. Education, Ian, any updates there? Oh, still muted, sorry.
I thought most of the education was covered in the guest speaker for March meeting.
I think it is. It was only just unless you had anything that you wanted to share with the board on upcoming or questions that you had for the board. You're comfortable?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. And again, I think the biggest thing for Ian is, again, if we've got ideas around topics for speakers would certainly be helpful. I know Ian would certainly appreciate that from any of the board members. So that's probably about the only thing, Ian, at this point that would be of assistance.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, perfect. Communications, we know where we're going with that. We're going to try and do some serious recruiting at March. March is going to be a kick it in the butt spring go. So looking forward to that. Next general meeting, we'll determine that is going to be face-to-face. Board meetings, I think we'll do those face-to-face too if we can, but we'll see if we can't find a location to be able to do those. Would certainly be nice to get together with everybody as a board and discuss. We'll see if we can't find a neutral space where we've got a small boardroom or something where we can meet, because there's really not much more than about 10 or 12 of us. So it certainly doesn't need to be a massive space, but we used to meet out at Murray's when Murray was on the board, but that's not a available option at this point. So maybe we can find a small boardroom. I'll see if I can search it out, but if any of you have access to a boardroom, let's see if we can utilize.
It's not fun, but we're more than welcome to use the boardroom that we've got in the door shop.
Oh, that's
in the yard.
That's a nice spot, actually, Trish. So for those of you that don't know, I've attended several meetings with Trish in that boardroom for projects that we've done with Rick. And it's at Home Hardware, and it's back at the door shop. So you go past the main building and into the back where they have the fabrication shop, and it's on the second floor in the middle of the building. Nice boardroom. Got all the amenities that we would need to have a meeting in. That might be a great space. And do you think Rick is okay with that, Trish?
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I figured he would be, but I don't want to speak on his behalf. You can. You're the controller, so you can.
If you find a nicer boardroom, I'm happy with that too. But
yeah, you know what? That boardroom's all right. There's nothing wrong with it. We don't need fancy, as long as we got space and you know, it's in out of the cold. It's a nice room. Nothing wrong with it.
There you go.
Done.
All right. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right. So we'll look at convening at the boardroom there for the 19th. And I'll just open it up if there was anybody had anything that they wanted to ask or share before we look for a motion for adjournment. Not seeing any hands or anything. Dwayne, I just want to again acknowledge and send condolences on behalf of the board in the recent loss of your dad. So heart goes out to you, and just wanted to send our condolences from all of us. So
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
you betcha. All right. So I will now entertain a motion for adjournment. Like, I can't even get a motion on that. Come on. Oh, Dwayne's giving me the motion. There we go. Awesome. Thanks very much. Okay, everybody stay safe, and look forward to seeing everybody. I'll watch the email chain and we'll get some of these things going. Can't wait for the face-to-face. I think that's going to be a big improvement. So thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.